Some stories start with shame but end in triumph. What happened in a quiet Chicago neighborhood grocery store one rainy Wednesday evening might have seemed small at first: a rude cashier, a man with barely enough money to eat. But behind that man's silence was a secret so powerful it turned humiliation into justice. This is the shocking, emotional story of Elijah Boone, the man who returned not just for groceries, but for revenge with grace. Boone's Market, a small family-run grocery store on 83rd Street, had been around for over 30 years. Lately, the business had been losing its warmth, especially under the management of Ava Matthews, the owner's daughter who had just taken over the front-end operations. Ava had a reputation: sharp-tongued, impatient, and constantly on her phone. To her, being a cashier wasn't customer service, it was punishment. On March 7, 2025, a tall, scruffy man in a worn-out coat and boots walked into the store around 8 p.m. He had tired eyes, cracked hands, and a calm presence that somehow felt out of place. He pushed an empty basket slowly, stopping occasionally to check prices. He picked up a loaf of bread, 2 cans of tuna, a pack of instant noodles, a gallon of milk, a small bag of apples. His total came to $18.43. He approached the register Ava was manning. She glanced at him, eyes rolling before he even spoke. "That all?" she asked, popping her gum. "Yes, ma'am," he replied politely, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a folded stack of coins and crumpled bills. He began to count carefully, apologizing under his breath as he separated dimes from quarters. That's when Ava made a show of it. "You know this ain't a soup kitchen, right?" she said, voice raised so others could hear. An older woman behind him frowned. "Look at this," Ava laughed, turning to her coworker. "Counting nickels like it's 1965. Elijah said nothing. He just kept counting, calmly, deliberately. But his hands were shaking slightly. He was 73 cents short. "Just put the apples back," he said softly. "That should cover it." But Ava wasn't done. "Nah, just take the bread and the coins and go. You're holding up the line. People got jobs." The room was quiet. "It's okay," Elijah said with a slight smile. "Thank you." He gathered his 2 items and left, head held high, but heart heavy. At exactly 9:01 a.m., just a minute after Boone's Market opened, a black Escalade pulled up in front of the store. A man stepped out in a pressed navy suit. His face was clean-shaven, and his boots, shined leather, clicked as he walked. It was Elijah Boone. Only this time, he wasn't carrying change. He walked directly to the front counter where Ava was starting her shift. "Good morning," he said with a slight grin. Ava stared. He looked familiar but different. "Can I help you?" she asked, half distracted. "Yes," he replied. "I'm here to speak with the owner." "Mr. Caldwell, right?" "He's not in. Why?" "I just bought this store. I'm your new boss." Silence. Ava blinked. "You what?" "Check the paperwork on the office desk. You'll see the acquisition agreement. My team emailed it this morning." Boone Holdings. The name hit her like a brick. Boone Holdings. He wasn't a broke man. He was a tech investor, a low-profile multimillionaire who had grown up poor and used his fortune to invest in neighborhoods like the one he came from. And this grocery store? It had been on his radar for months. Elijah Boone wasn't just a man who got lucky. He had grown up 2 streets away from Boone's Market, raised by a single mom who worked 3 jobs and still went hungry. His father? Never around. He knew what it meant to live paycheck to paycheck. He knew what it felt like to count coins at a register and get judged. Years later, he studied computer engineering at a community college, earned scholarships, and built a software startup that was later acquired by a Silicon Valley firm. Quietly, Elijah began investing his wealth in underfunded communities, buying up failing properties and turning them into safe, community-first businesses. Boone's Market had been struggling. The owner, Mr. Caldwell, had been looking to sell quietly, and Elijah saw his chance. The night before he was mocked, he visited as a customer to see the store's culture for himself. What he witnessed confirmed his mission. Under Elijah's ownership, Boone's Market underwent a radical transformation, prices lowered on essential food items. A new hiring policy that prioritized kindness and community involvement, monthly free grocery days for low-income families. A corner section turned into a food pantry in his mother's name, Mama Bo's table. As for Ava, Elijah didn't fire her immediately. He called her into his office. "I believe in second chances," he told her. "Because I was given one. But if you stay, you learn respect. If not, you walk." Ava stayed. For the first time in years, she humbled herself. Working under Elijah changed her, and she later became the store's community outreach coordinator, using her experience as a wake-up call. When news of the story spread, locals couldn't believe it. A viral Facebook post captioned, "From humiliated to owner," got over 3 million shares. But Elijah never gloated. In fact, he rarely spoke of that day at the register. "People think I bought the store for revenge," he said in an interview. "I didn't. I bought it because no one should ever feel small when they're trying to survive." What started as mockery ended as a movement. Boone's Market became a symbol of dignity, redemption, and the quiet power of empathy. Today, Boone Holdings owns over 30 small businesses in urban areas across the Midwest. Elijah visits each one in person, never forgetting where he came from. At the original Boone's Market, a plaque hangs near the register. "We measure worth not by what's in your wallet, but by how you treat people." Elijah Boone, March 8, 2025. The very spot where he once stood, counting coins, is now a pay-what-you-can corner. The apples he couldn't afford? They're free for anyone in need. This wasn't just a story of money. It was about dignity. Never underestimate a person based on what you see in a moment, because the man you mock today might own the future you work for tomorrow.